This is Democracy Now!, democracynow.org, The War and Peace Report. I'm Amy Goodman.
And I'm Juan Gonzalez. Welcome to all of our listeners and viewers around the country and around the world. We begin today's show in San Antonio, Texas, where 10 undocumented immigrants died from heat exposure and asphyxiation after they and dozens of others were crammed into the back of a sweltering tractor trailer as part of their journey to enter the United States from Mexico. When the group of migrants was discovered in a Walmart parking lot in San Antonio, 8 men were already dead. 2 more died later, and 29 remain hospitalized. Authorities say they are investigating it as a human trafficking case. This is San Antonio Police Chief William McManus.
We're looking at human trafficking crime here this evening. Department of Homeland Security is involved. They're working with us. Homicide will work with them to determine the origin of this horrific tragedy.
Survivors say as many as 200 people were sandwiched into the back of the truck at times during the deadly journey. The youngest victims were just 15 years old. On Monday, truck driver James Matthew Bradley Jr. appeared in court, was charged under a federal law against knowingly transporting people who are in the country without documentation. He claimed he was unaware his tractor trailer contained human cargo until he parked it outside a Walmart store to use the bathroom and heard loud banging noises. Bradley told investigators he then opened the back doors of the trailer and was surprised when dozens of, quote, Spanish people ran out. He said he later noticed the dead bodies, saying there were, quote, bodies just lying on the floor like meat, unquote. If convicted, Bradley could face the death penalty or life in prison. We're joined now by 2 guests. Eddie Canales is the director of the South Texas Human Rights Center, joining us from Falfurrias, Texas. He joins us by Democracy Now! Video stream. And in Los Angeles, we're joined by Sonia Nazario, a Pulitzer Prize-winning journalist, author of Enrique's Journey, the story of a boy's dangerous odyssey to reunite with his mother. She is a board member of Kids in Need of Defense. We welcome you both to Democracy Now! Eddie, let's begin with you. Tell us what you understood took place, beginning in, well, we could start before this, but in Laredo.
Well, it's a scenario that's probably played out on a very regular basis. For the person the driver to say he was not unaware is completely preposterous, because people are forced to try to circumvent the checkpoints, the border and the checkpoints on a regular basis to try to make it into the United States and reach their destination. And so that scenario, I mean, for 200 people to be in a tractor trailer like that, and him being unaware is highly unlikely. A lot of reports say that he was picking up people, and there was a lot of different stops. So this is something that is very, very. It contributes to the crisis that we have on the border in terms of migrant deaths. We have a humanitarian crisis that's been going on for about 15, 20 years now, of people dying on the border and trying to get through. So it's a result of the deterrent policy that this country has regarding trying to stop people from coming in at the borders and with the checkpoints.
And Eddie Canales, speaking of that crisis, on Friday, you found the body of a male migrant when you were checking, who was dead, when you were checking a water station at a ranch in rural Brooks County. Could you talk about Brooks County in particular and the unbelievable toll of migrants found dead just in that part of Texas?
Well, the South Texas Human Rights Center was founded there in Brooks County in Falfurrias, Texas. Initially, the effort was that people were being buried without DNA not being taken, and so we undertook that advocacy and changed that practice. But between 2004 and 2016, there has been over 665 migrant deaths and bodies and skeletal remains that have been recovered only in Brooks County. It is the corridor there of migration from Central America and from Mexico, and it is people are trying to circumvent that checkpoint that's about 15 miles from Falfurrias. So on Thursday we try to mitigate and prevent people from dying. We have water stations over about 115 in Brooks County and surrounding counties, and kind of the beginning routes that people may take during the route, and in some of the ranches that people allow the humanitarian effort. So I was checking water and one of these stations, and normally the telltale sign is buzzards, and then I smelled the decaying animal or body, and looked for a little bit, and I couldn't find anything. It was high brush there, and then I moved on to finish my my route that in the ranch there to finish before it got real dark. And when we came back, we looked again, and sure enough, we found a body of an individual that was spread eagle underneath in a clearing underneath a tree, and it was the number 32 in Brooks County this year. So in the beginning of the year, we're mostly skeletal remains, but over the summer we've recovered live bodies there. We recovered remains of full bodies. So that's what's going on there. I mean, last year there was 61 recovery of skeletal remains and bodies, and this year we're at 32. So it is a crisis. It is something that we continue to deal with, and the rescue efforts is it's all private land. So we're working with Border Patrol in terms of trying to, for one, make sure that the 911 system is working, and Border Patrol responds to migrants in distress. And then, of course, if families reach out to the South Texas Human Rights Center, an NGO, and they're more comfortable in terms of discussing what they know regarding the trek, the trail that their loved one has taken and where they were left behind. So last week I received seven calls of missing persons, of missing migrants.
So, Eddie, you discovered this body on Friday. On Saturday, this news comes out. Now, 10 people dead in that Walmart truck and 29 people in the hospital, being called one of the nation's deadliest human trafficking episodes that's taken place in San Antonio. Republican Lieutenant Governor of Texas, Dan Patrick, blamed the migrant deaths in San Antonio on sanctuary cities. On Sunday, Patrick took to social media to support SB 4, a new anti-sanctuary city law that allows police to check the immigration status of anyone they detain. Patrick wrote on his Facebook page, quote, "Today's tragedy is why I made passing Senate Bill 4 to ban sanctuary cities, which is now law, a top priority. Sanctuary cities entice people to believe they can come to America and Texas and live outside the law. Sanctuary cities also enable human smugglers and cartels. Today, these people paid a terrible price and demonstrate why we need a secure border and legal immigration reform so we can control who enters our country." And the senator from Texas, your senator, John Cornyn, said border security will help prevent this Texas tragedy. Compassion is called for. Your response to these officials of your state?
Well, one thing is correct, that we do need immigration reform, and to deal with a system that everybody says is broken. We have, and I think the border security question has been tried enforcement approach only for the last 15, 20 years, has not worked. Migration is down on the border, but the migrant deaths continue. It's demonstrated by the fact that you have 9 million, 10 million people in this country already working, and in terms of the labor needs of immigrant labor in this country. The policy of enforcement only approach is one that is causing the death, and we need to figure out a way to regularize the labor in a safe and orderly and regular manner that deals with the issues at hand. I mean, the labor has demonstrated that it's needed. SB 4 is at 500 to 1 testified against in that hearing. Every major police chief in the state of Texas was against that law and saying that it's against community security. It keeps immigrants and the immigrant community from reporting crime. So in sanctuary cities, and it's not, to say the sanctuary cities is the normal thing to do, is not for local police to enforce immigration law. That's not their realm. That's not their duty. Their duty is to enforce their local laws and keep the community safe. So it's proven time and time again that those communities are safer, and the effort to compel local police departments in the state to enforce immigration laws is something that we're still fighting and will continue to fight in terms of repealing that law.
I'd like to